Welcome back to the Band Guide, where we use GarageBand to create professional sounding music. I'm your band guy, Colin, and today I want to share with you 4 kind of crazy tricks you can do with GarageBand Drummer. Some of these you may know, but I guarantee you there's at least one of these that you don't know. So let's go and get into it. Now, we're starting here totally from scratch. I've not done anything. We're just creating a brand new drummer track, and this is specifically what these tricks are for. So let's go and create a track, and typically this is going to default to whatever you've been using recently. In this case, it's just going to do the standard pop rock by Kyle on the SoCal kit. So if we look down here, we have a drummer and then the drum kit selected down here. I'm going to just loop this entire thing that Kyle is playing. Let's play just a little bit of this here. So the first trick I want to show you is how to convert this to Midi. Now, you may have seen me do this on this channel before, but this is a really, really powerful trick because it allows you to perfectly customize everything that's going on into this. So if you like this drum part in general, but you want a kick drum to be in a slightly different place, we can do that. Let me show you how to do this. So we're just going to hit Add Track and hit Software Instrument. Now, once we're here, we want to go back. So I'm just scrolling back here. You can go up to drum kit, and now I can pick any of the drum kit sounds for this track. So let's say in this case, you know me, I like this Brooklyn kit. Now I'm just going to go and select this region here, take my cursor and put it back to 0 and hit Command C on the keyboard to copy, and then select the new track that I just created, which is the software instrument track, and hit Command V to paste it. And now if I solo this, it's the exact same drum part. I've just changed the drum kit. Well, I could change it to anything. I could go back to the original SoCal, right? Whatever you want it to be. Let's go ahead and hit E though, and let me show you how you can edit this. So if you hit E on the keyboard, it will bring up this editor window, and in here, we can actually edit what's being played. So this C1 is our kick drum. This D1 right here is the snare drum. We have a couple different hi-hat variations. We have crashes. And I can go in here and let's say I just want to add a second kick here and make it go do-do-cat. I can make it do that. If I want to add a third kick, maybe a kick right after here. Right? So you can get really crazy and customize your drum part to make it what you want to be. Now, I recommend playing around with the drummer until it's nearly everything you want it to be, and then using this MIDI to customize it to make it exactly what you want it to be. Okay, that is trick number 1. You're going to see this come back in just a second, but let's go and talk about trick number 2, which is actually changing the drum kit with any of the drummers. So here we have Kyle playing. That's our selected drummer. But let's say we wanted to have a very different sound than what we typically do. Let's say you often write with Kyle, but you want to just really change it up. Well, something you can do is you can go into these other drummers and you can select one of the other ones. So for example, under alternative, there's this cool one, the synth pop drummer. Now, this is going to default to being a digital kit. Sounds super cool, but might not be the right fit for your song, but you might like maybe the style that this person plays, or you want to get really interesting because the way someone would play a digital kit is going to be different than the way they'd play a quote natural kit. And so by blending a hybrid of these two, we can start to create really interesting things. So for example, if we play around with a couple of these, yeah, okay, very different kind of drum part here. Very tom heavy, right? Now I can go under sounds, I can scroll back here and go up to drum kit, and now I could select any of these drum kits here. So I could have this kind of digital drum part be played on the SoCal kit. Right? Okay, now that's cool, right? This is how you can start to get really creative with this. But if you are mismatching a couple different drummers, something you might want to do is create one of these MIDI tracks. And now, let's say I want to have that initial drum part first, and then have this new drum part second. I can come up here, copy this, go down to this kit, and paste this. And now if we listen through this, I can mute this. We'll go from this drum part, which is played by Kyle, into kind of this crazier drum part, which is played by Duncan. That's pretty cool, right? So you can use a hybrid of drummers with this approach too. So I could be playing around with Duncan for the verses, and then I could use Gavin for the chorus if I want. You can get crazy with it, right? So changing the drummer with any of the drum kits, that's super powerful. Blend it in with the converting to MIDI, and you have a lot you can do here. Okay, let's go and talk about the third trick, which is to dampen the kick and snare drum. This is really cool. Let's go back up here to our original track. I'm going to mute this track, and I'm just going to put it back on Kyle for the time being. It's going to prompt us change drummer. All right, so this drum sound currently sounds like this. I'm going to go ahead and turn off everything except kick and snare so you can hear what we're going to do. Now, if I take off this compressor here, it's going to change what I see in my smart control window. So you hit B to bring up your smart control window. And if I take off this compressor, I'm going to get a kick dampen option. This is really cool. So if we listen actually to just the kick here for a second, listen to just the kick. Has a little bit of a ring to it. Not much, but a little bit. If I were to bring this dampen all the way over, listen to how it changes it. Bring it all the way back. You can kind of blend it to where you want it to be, right? So this is really open sounding. This is super damp, right? And in the context of the kit, that will make it just feel a little bit different. Really tight. Pretty open. Really tight. So you can play around with that, be creative. That might be right for the context of your song. Going one step further, we also have this tone control over here, and that's actually controlling this EQ. So if I take this EQ off, it's going to give us a snare dampen option. Now this is really cool. If I just let the snare play here, if we open it all the way up, there's a little bit more ring. If I dampen it all the way down, has this kind of cool, almost lo-fi sound. Kind of crazy, right? Okay, and let's talk about my fourth and final trick, which is to turn this room knob down here into kind of a crazy delay effect. So if you turn this room up, you'll notice it just gives it a sense of space around the drums. If I turn it off, it feels very dry. Turn this up, it's kind of like it's in a room. Now, we can go a step further. If you hold control on the keyboard while you click on it or right click on it, we can hit edit effect. And it's going to take us to where the parameters of that room sound are. We can also see it under here. It's just under track, master, room, small room. Now here I can get a little bit crazy with the pre-delay, and this is going to turn this into a delayed sound. So check this out. Little weird, but we can actually get it where it's kind of in time. Get a little bit crazy, right? We can also play with the tone, turn off the high frequency, just make it really dark. If I turn on the other parts of this drum kit, it's kind of wild, right? Let's go back. Let's change out this drum part now. I'm going to go to one of Duncan's. Let's go back to that same SoCal kit. And I'm going to use this room knob in that same way. It kept the parameters, kept that delay there. We can bring in some of the high if we want. Make it all low. And you can play around with the pre-delay until it's doing a rhythm that you like. It's kind of almost a swing right there. It can get pretty weird if you're pretty off, right? There it is right there. And this is just this room knob now. So if I want to turn it down, take that completely away if I want to turn it up. Let's slow it back down. That's pretty cool, right? Take it away. Cool. Okay, so that is 4 tricks you can do with GarageBand Drummer that are kind of crazy, super fun, super creative. Now, if you are using GarageBand Drummer and you're struggling to make them sound real in your song, I want to give you something to help with that. I've put together a completely free guide on how to make GarageBand drummers sound real. It's amazing what you can do with GarageBand Drummer. You can make them sound way more real. So in this guide, I walk through some steps that are easy to follow to make your GarageBand drums sound way more realistic in your mix. So be sure to grab it from the link in the description below. It's completely free. Before we go, I want to hear from you. Do you have any tricks that you found that work really well for you with the GarageBand Drummer? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking for new things. If this video is helpful, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week with another video.